Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to Inspirational Journeys Through Life with Straight Talk with Nolan. I am your host, Nolan Play, and today it's my honor and privilege to welcome Kellina Powell to our show, Inspirational Journeys Through Life with Straight Talk with Nolan. Kellina is a young entrepreneur who loves to help people with their personal growth and educate others about the deaf community. Now, we both have something in common because we both are working with the deaf community, and that's how we connected as well. Now, little do people know, Kellina is actually a hard of hearing person. She became deaf at the age of 4, and she also recently graduated with a psychology degree and is now starting her online coaching business while launching her book. So you better look forward to her book that's going to be coming out soon. So once again, welcome, Kellina. Can you tell our audience, just in about 2 minutes, a bit more about yourself?
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me. I am excited to be here. Honestly, be ready for popcorn because I am so many things, honestly. So I am an author, a coach, international speaker, and lastly, what am I again? An author. I said that again. But yeah, honestly, that's all I am. So I honestly, I advocate a lot for the deaf community and the hearing community. Just because myself, I am also deaf. I became deaf at the age of 4. So I was able to really communicate into community. And, when I was growing up, I did have difficulty communicating. And so, and I'm here to advocate the hearing community, how to be more acceptable for the deaf community. And that's who I am.
I love that. I love that here, the last part, especially where you want to educate the hearing community about deaf culture and about deaf person. Because throughout the world, it is really lacking. I see it in my country, South Africa. I'm an advocate for the deaf community, and I always try to bridge the gap between the hearing and the deaf people. So, Kellina, how did this all start? How did you become deaf?
So I honestly became deaf due to an ear infection that had happened to me when I was 4. However, how it all started was I would prescribe an ear drop, and my mom gave it to my daycare teacher. Unfortunately, my daycare teacher did not follow the instruction. That same day when I went home, I became deaf. And so we don't know what causes it. We don't know if they, one, follow instruction, 2, put it on time, or they just forgot. So we don't know what happened to me. Personally, I don't know what happened myself. So that's really how it all started.
So, and that was when you were 4 years old, right?
Yes.
And what happened after that? How long? So now, as I understand it, you have a hearing aid on, right?
Yeah.
So how long did you wait before you got the hearing aid?
So it happened the same day. So when I went home, which is probably like 5 o'clock, I'm pretty sure because it's pretty dark. 5, so maybe within 2 hours, 3 hours, the gap, until I realized I was deaf.
Wow. And did you wait long to get hearing aids?
No. Luckily in Canada, you are provided a benefit, health care. So it's for free. So it's free. Thankfully, I'm thankful for my benefit in Canada. What happened was, my mom brought me to the family doctor the next day. My family did not wait it. They just went to the family doctor the next day when it happened. My doctor said, okay, here's a bunch of audiologists. We're going to book Kellina in tomorrow, first thing, to see how much damage it had been done to both of Kellina's ears. Because my doctor said, we can't let this poor little girl be confused for the next 5 days. And so luckily, I was able to see my audiologist the next day because audiologists are really booked. Especially the one I go to is always busy, always. And so luckily, my audiologist said, okay, you know what, this is what we can do for Kellina. The hearing aid won't be ready until the next 5 days. Because you have to go through the procedure and you have to go through the application, paperwork, and all that. So it definitely takes some time.
But, overall, that's still a good turnaround time, right? And I'm so glad that you even mentioned that in Canada, It's actually free to get a hearing aid. Not many countries are fortunate enough. In South Africa, the country I live in, I can speak for them, is that it's such a challenge for children that are born deaf to have access to hearing aids. In fact, this year we climbed Mount Kilimanjaro to raise funds to give the gift of hearing to a child. And we managed to get hearing aids for 2 children. But apart from these 2 children, there's so many other children out there that cannot live a normal life because they don't have access to hearing aids. So well done to the Canadian government and the health system for actually implementing a free system. And, to the listeners out there as well, whoever's listening, and if you're in a country in Africa and you don't have access to hearing aids, I would suggest speak to the government and try and get this going. I mean, we're trying to push for free hearing aids because it should be free. Everyone should have the opportunity to live a normal life as well. So thank you for sharing that, Kellina. I really appreciate that. Now, apart from, I know as a deaf person or hard of hearing person, you go through many struggles, etc., right? Now, apart from reading lips, what other challenges or obstacles you face?
The obstacle I faced is finding a job. That's one. 2, I would say being my own self. Not to feel like I'm not who I am. Being accepting who I am was definitely the challenge I faced a lot because I'm different from everybody I look around, right? I do know I need help. I do know that I'm gonna have communication barriers. So that is definitely a lot of things I face a lot, especially being a teenager. You're learning who you are. You're learning like how to fit into different group, or the cool kid and not the cool kid. So in high school, it was definitely a lot for me to really learn who I am, to be honest, and mental health as well.
So that must have been tough in high school, right? I mean, trying to be your own self amidst all these challenges. Did you ever encounter any type of bullying in school?
Of course, I was bullied a lot in the hand school versus deaf school. I did attend to 2 schools when I was growing up. Luckily, I was able to be exposed to community when I was very young. So when I went to the hand school, it was definitely a lot of bullying happening. A lot of people bullied me due to my speech, and I guess they would call me a attention seeker, because the teacher was always like looking out for me, and they're like, "That's not fair, y'all. Look out for Kellina," like little kid stuff. And so they didn't understand, and it's just unfortunate because I was super young, and I'm like, why did the teacher pay attention to me? And so I feel like a lot of people have picked on me because I would always gain attention from the teacher, which was really annoying. And especially myself, who was really trying to be independent. So being independent is very hard in the hearing community because you need someone to be assistant.
Yeah. Wow. So many challenges as well. To anyone listening out there as well, that is a witness to bullying, or if you are a bully yourself as well, I would like you just to remember one thing, that, no matter what a person goes through in life, no matter what disability, what race, religion, sex, culture the person is, learn to respect the person for who they are. Because at the end of the day, they are human. We all are human. So let's treat each other with the same respect and not just tend to bully people. Because I must be honest with you, Kellina, bullying is something that still happens every single day. And, it's also what people that can hear, like people with no disabilities, bully each other for some reason, because everyone wants to be better than the other person, right? So it's such a struggle out there as well. So did you experience something like that in school as well, where able-bodied people would bully each other?
Can you do that again? Sorry. You kind of...
No problem. So in school, did you witness where able-bodied children would bully each other?
No. I would say it's more of like a competition, but with not anything too dramatic. Nothing like that. It wasn't, no.
So although the bullying with the other people may not have been as crazy as you had encountered, the fact that you were still being bullied meant that bullying is still very prevalent in schools, in universities. You know, bullying is actually in corporate worlds as well, right?
Yeah, it is 100%.
Still there, yeah. I've had personal experiences with racial behavior and bullying in a corporate world in the year 2019. Can you believe that? 3 years ago. So it's shocking that people don't respect each other. So, you know, to the audience out there, we are listening to Kellina Powell, who was born hard of hearing. She's now got a hearing aid, and we're managing to have a conversation. And she spoke recently about her bullying in school and the struggles that she faced with just being hard of hearing. So we're going to be coming back to you. And when we get back after the break, we're going to be talking about how deafness impacts your mental health as well. So we will be right back. Stay tuned to Inspirational Journeys Through Life with Straight Talk with Nolan.
Crossing the United States to his native South Africa, Nolan continues to push barriers and inspire people to inspire themselves. And you could be next. Join Nolan's 7-day online groundbreaking program called Obstacles Make Me Stronger, aimed at teaching you how to overcome any obstacles you may face, break barriers, be innovative, and take control of your life. For more information, check out Obstacles Make Me Stronger, now on Udemy.
Welcome back to Inspirational Journeys Through Life with Straight Talk with Nolan. Today we are chatting to Kellina Powell, and we're talking about deafness and the impact it has on mental health. So Kellina is going to tell, or basically explain to us, how deafness does impact your mental health as well.
So mental health, it's not easy. People always ask me, Kellina, how do you build that confidence? And it's not easy. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
You know, there's times where I shut my stuff out, not tell anybody what's going on. And people always ask, like, how do I do it? Honestly, really, I change my circle. I change who I listen to. I change my environment. It's very important to change your environment and find your support system. It's very important to have your own support system and a community that you can look up to, someone that you can go to. And so that's how I did it. But yeah.
Wow. So those are some very good, solid tips for the listeners out there as well. One is change your community, right? Because your community or your circle. This is quite important because you don't want to hang around with people that are negative all the time. You want to keep away from them. One of the things you mentioned is you used to shut yourself out. And we know that's not a healthy thing to do, right? When we shut ourselves out, that could lead to depression, sadness, sickness, etc. So how did you feel when you were shutting yourself out?
I just need a break. That's how it felt. Okay. You know, I felt like I just needed a break from listening to people. My eyes were tired from reading lips, right? You always consistently have to communicate. And for me, I was just really tired, and I just said, I need a break for 2 days, or I need a break for 3 days. And I still do it till this day. And I tell people, leave me alone, you know? But it's okay to put yourself first. And a lot of times people can be really selfish about themselves and say, this, that. No, you need to come first too. And that's when I had to learn the long way about putting myself first before anybody else.
Oh, valid point. I love that. Put yourself first, because it really does start with you, right? So self-love is something that we all should be doing. And it's so important. We are just speaking about this a little early on as well. With self-love, if you can't love yourself first, how are you going to love someone else? So it got to start with you. You got to put yourself first. Interestingly, Kellina, you told me that you used to shut yourself out or take a break because your eyes used to get tired from lip reading. I really didn't know that before, right? I didn't think about it in that way. And now that you mention it, it's that focus. Wow. So does it take so much of strain on you, on your eye?
Oh yeah, 100%. Too much energy and draining. And because I wear glasses too, it makes it even more tiring for those who wear glasses. I couldn't imagine myself doing the 24/7 a whole day.
Wow. Yeah, because you're trying
Yeah,
to focus on the person all the time and focus on the lip and
exactly.
understand what they're saying. Wow.
Exactly.
Gee whiz, now I understand why when a person really needs a break, a person really needs a break, right? Because I think it will also be the same like me looking at a computer all the time. At some point, my eyes will get tired and I need to take a break as well. So it's the same thing, right? We got to take care of ourselves. Well, thank you for sharing that. That was very insightful to me. So I want to go a bit more into entrepreneurship. And I know you're an entrepreneur. What inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
Can you read that again? Sorry.
So I was saying that I know you into entrepreneurship. What really inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
Oh goodness. Okay. There's more popcorn for you guys. Okay. So basically, the first thing, the reason why I did it was because two stories happened. The first story, it happened when I was working at a big park. It's called Kellina Wonderland. A little boy approached me. My hair was in a ponytail. My hairnet was showing, honestly. I totally forgot it was showing. And my hair was always down. Believe me when I tell you guys that. And a boy came to me. He's like, oh my God, Mitch, look, look, look. And I thought he was confused. I thought he was lost. And he's like, no, like, look at my hairnet. I'm like, oh my God, you look so cute. And it was just so cute. And yeah, he was deaf too. And his mom came to me and she was just shocked. And I was like, I looked at her confused, like, why do you look shocked? And she's like, no, like, you're the first person that my son see in a hearing community that they're deaf. Like, my son never seen this before. And it makes sense. I was like, oh my God. And then I was explained to the mom, it happened to me because I never met a deaf person in the hearing community myself when I was a kid. And it was so sad because why is there not a lot of awareness? Why is nobody showing their disability in the community where they're not fit in, right? And it makes me want to become an entrepreneur because I made an impact and change in that little boy's life. And that's when that mom told me that, and she said, you're going to make a change in the world. Believe me when I tell you that. You may not see it now, but you're going to see it in the future. And I just clicked there and I said, what does she mean by that? And so fast forward, I went to university. I graduated with a psychology degree. However, I had one professor who is also deaf. He was a lawyer. He paused the lecture. He said, one moment, please. I need to change my hearing battery. While he was teaching, it was mind-blowing because I didn't know he was deaf myself. And I was like, hold on, this professor is deaf too? And he paused the lecture to actually change his hearing aid battery. And it inspired me so much more because, like that little boy said, he never met someone that was deaf in the hearing community.
Yeah.
I never met someone that was deaf in the hearing community. And now I just did. My professor. It was just crazy how the world is slowly changing with reputation.
Yeah.
And when I had that conversation with my professor about his successful stories, how did he do it? And I asked him, like, whoa. And he said we had a really amazing conversation. It's something that I will never forget. And I asked him, what made you drive to this point? He said, just like you came to me. I didn't know you were deaf. I want to make a change. I want to show people that they can do it. And by having that conversation with him, it made me show me that I can do anything I want to do in life, whether it's being a teacher or rather being a doctor or anything like that. There's always going to be tools out there for us to use, even though it may be expensive, but it's definitely going to be worth it down the road. And that's why I choose to be an entrepreneur, because I do want to change the reputation along the deaf community, saying that, hey, like, we can still do it. We can still achieve those goals no matter what we are, what we have. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, you can't do certain things. But at the end of the day, it's how far you go and how far are you willing to take that risk. And that was something I want to teach the deaf community. There's not a lot of awareness. There's lack of awareness, lack of education. I want to keep going and make sure that I am making changes within the next generation, even to let them know that, hey, you can still do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And that's why I choose to become an entrepreneur.
Wow. Congratulations and well done, Kellina. Such a proud moment. I'm so grateful to have met you as well, and to see as a young person you're making such a big difference out there as well. So such important points. I can understand with you having a hearing aid and having long hair because it will cover it, right? But with that little boy and the professor, you should have been able to see the professor's one he's not so visible. The hearing aid, was it not visible enough to see it?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay. Wow.
You couldn't see it. I couldn't even tell.
Until he said that he needed to recharge the battery.
Yeah, until he said that. I was like, oh.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you. A lot of work needs to be done, especially with getting the deaf and the hearing communities together. I've started up something in South Africa. It's called Hike with the Deaf. Hike with the Deaf is all about getting hearing people and deaf people together to go on a hike and socialize so that the hearing person can understand deaf culture as well. And I find most of the time, it's not that the hearing person does not want to communicate with the deaf person. They don't know how to. So personally, prior to 2019, I wasn't close to the deaf community until I launched my company, and I had 3 deaf people come and speak at the launch of my company. I had interpreters there, sign language interpreters, so my audience could understand exactly what they were saying. But ever since I met this beautiful community, we've stayed close together up until, going and climbing mountains and becoming family friends as well. So I like the work you're doing around this way, and keep spreading this awareness. It really needs to be spread globally. People need to see that no matter what disability a person has, they are still human. We want people to see humans, right? We don't want them to see race, religion, or disabilities or anything like that as well. So keep it up. Yeah. And how can you maybe just give us one idea that you have on how you're spreading the awareness currently with the hearing people?
Definitely. So I'm on so many platforms, honestly. I am using my Instagram content. So I'm trying to build my Instagram, really educating people what it's like to be deaf. And I do have a YouTube channel, which I am really slacking on, to be honest. I need to get back on that. And as well, I am on podcasts, just like this, speaking to a lot of different backgrounds, not just disability people, but also more into the hearing community and really spreading that awareness. And I'm on an audio app called Clubhouse, really educating other people and networking with the right people. It's very fascinating because that's how I really got me this far, to be honest, because of Clubhouse. And I am also speaking in schools, speaking with teachers, principal, even working with organization. And so that's just how I'm spreading the awareness. I'm being very busy, believe me.
Yeah.
Some people are like, how does she do it?
Yeah. But that's great work. I mean, it's so fulfilling as well when you go out and do work like this as well, right? It really feels.
Yeah, that.
So I'm also on Clubhouse. I'll actually look you up and send you a request.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Clubhouse been weird to me, to be honest. I don't know why, because it's slow for some reason. I don't get back channel messages on Clubhouse anymore. I don't know why.
Oh, sure. I know with Clubhouse, when you don't respond to certain messages, then they automatically pause your subscription. Then you have to go into settings and unpause it as well. I had that experience and I had to go in and fix it as well. So now let's get into the interesting part, because we spoke just briefly about your book, right? And you're writing a book. Why did you choose to write a book about your deafness?
Honestly, simple question. Have anybody read a book by a deaf author?
Good question.
80% of hearing community told me no.
Mm.
It's crazy. And I'm thinking, why are there not a lot of authors that are deaf? And I said, why don't I write about my book? Why don't I write about my story? And when I decided to do it, I was so nervous because I didn't think, not that anybody could buy the book, but I didn't think my book would go really far globally. And I was shocked. I was like, oh my God. And when I had a lot of the hearing community seeing my book, oh my God. Everybody was just like mouth dropped. They're like, oh my God, Kellina, like I had no idea. And it was just so beautiful how a book could able to really understand how a person feels.
Wow.
Because a book really makes you think critically and be like, oh my God, this is what it's like to be deaf. And that's why I chose to write a book, because I thought it's time for us deaf community to be more than anything, not just be on TV shows or, like it should be everywhere. It should not just be one alley industry. It should be everywhere.
Wow. You're right. I totally agree with you as well. Because one should not allow a disability to hold us back from what we really want to do, right? We can still do so much as well. What's the name of the book?
So my book is called Every Day I Am Just Deaf.
Every Day. And is the book out now already?
Yes, the book is already out. It came out in May.
Oh, wow. So, okay, we're going to get those contact details now, right? Because I think it's going to be a very interesting book. I would love to share that book on to my networks as well. So if people need to get the book, where can they get your book from?
Amazon. It's on Amazon. I know everybody shop on Amazon. It's super easy, quick. I don't want it to be complicated. But yeah, you can find it on Amazon. If you cannot find my book, you can just type in my name, Kellina Powell, and my book will show up.
Wow. Okay, no, great. I'm definitely going to go and check it out as well. And wow, look forward to sharing a bit more about your book as well. So Kellina, it's been such a privilege, such an honor to have you on the show today. Thank you for inspiring me personally even more and inspiring the audience out there as well. It's been such an amazing time with you. Any last tips you have for the audience out there, for our listeners?
Yeah, definitely. My last thing I do want to say for the listener is that it's okay to take a break. It's okay to take a break. Life is too short. Believe me. You want to be okay, and it's okay to take a break.
Wow, I like that. It's okay to take a break. And that's absolutely true, because we don't want to work ourselves into exhaustion as well. So thank you so much for that beautiful ending or the beautiful line. To the audience out there, I know you will enjoy this content as well. It's going to be on YouTube. So go in onto YouTube. If you like this video, please put in comments as well that we can get to Kellina to answer for you. And subscribe to our channel as well. Our handle is Straight Talk with Nolan. And I'd like to thank you once again for sharing this episode. It's going to be on Anchor FM, Google, Spotify, and sure, it's all over the show. So just look for the handle Straight Talk with Nolan and you'll find it. So thank you once again, Kellina, for inspiring us. And thank you everyone for listening to Inspirational Journeys Through Life with Straight Talk with Nolan. My name is Nolan Pillay and I'm your host for today. So don't forget to like and share this with all your friends and all your family as well. Thank you so much and take care and have a good evening.